Hello. Stepped on a squeaky dog toy. So I bought a ticket to an Edwardian event where I'm not going to know anybody. I'm actually desperately shy. I don't know how I'm going to cope. Anyway, obviously need a dress to wear, and the one that I've chosen to make is this one from Folkwear Patterns. And although it's described as an Edwardian bridal gown, without the train, it is considered a Sunday best dress. The pattern was made referencing two original Edwardian gowns. So it's constructed in an authentic Edwardian way. And my inspiration for its colourway or theme are pictures like this one, where we see striking jet black details against an ivory main fabric. And the fabric I've chosen is a viella, so a mixture of wool and cotton in ivory, and I have some rather thrilling I think true Edwardian jet black trimmings that I'm going to put on the dress. So I'm not doing the lace insertion. If you're interested in lace insertion, I have my Edwardian underthings video where I show you the lace insertion, because I'm going to be applying my jet trimmings to the surface of the dress. So let's get started. The front of the bodice has this kind of T shape in which you fit these side panels, and these side panels just have, you can see me pulling up the gathering stitches there, and there's just a tiny short little row of gathering stitches just at the area around the bust, just to create a little fullness there. And the side panels then are also gathered along the base, as is the back, which is plain apart from the centre back closure. And the skirt has the same arrangement with a T-shaped piece and side panels at the front and a plain back. Just taking a little break because this has come out, and what I hadn't really thought, I don't know why I didn't think about it, what I hadn't really thought about when I started on the viella was, if you look closely, really closely, you can see, waving my unpicker tool at you, you can see little diagonal lines on it. Of course, on all the pieces, the little diagonal lines have to face the same way. But when I cut it out, just did it the usual way, folding it over, cutting it out. I didn't make sure that all the pieces, when they fitted together, would have all the little teeny weeny, with the weave, the diagonal weave would all point in the same direction, which now means that some of the pieces I am going to have to use them with the fabric wrong side up. Now the fabric does look identical on both sides, but it's just that I'll know, won't I? I'll know the fabric isn't really facing the right side up. Oh, come on, sit up here then. Come to commiserate. Many a dressmaking drama she's been through. Very sympathetic. So, yes, I just have to try not to think about it. Is there room for me on the sofa? Come on. The question is, will I be able to get the dress done up at the back if I use the preferred method? Oh, hello. If I use the method I really want to, of the beautiful glass jet black buttons, I mean, wouldn't they look so pretty down the back? It's a shame I don't have a maid, isn't it? It's a shame I can't train you up in some way. In fact, I feel like they're made. I do. So if I imagine putting this dress on with the buttons, I mean, it's quite hard even with a zip, isn't it? You sort of... So if I imagine putting it on with the buttons, then I could perhaps do the dress up at the front, twizzle it round, and then do have the view at the very top. Sure about that centre back bit could perhaps go awry. Tricky. I don't know, having my doubts. I'll make an absolutely final decision right at the end. I'm longing to have my black glass jet buttons at the back though. Perhaps I'll see when the dress is like decorated with a trimming. Maybe at the last moment I can decide zip or buttons. I really want the buttons. It's not sensible. But somehow, don't you always think where there's a will there's a way? Now the other thing I wanted to show you, now I'm up, is my trimmings for the dress. I've got the bodice sewn together and the skirt sewn together. Because of like getting back far enough to show you the whole dress, I thought actually we might just now have a quick look together at how I could do the trimmings on the dress. Here's the bodice, and I haven't done the little stand-up collar yet, but you can see how it's got these little puffed sleeves, puffed at the top, and the side panels just gather a little bit here into the bust area, and then we've got these sweeping lines up each side of the bodice, and I've got this fabulous, I'm going to attach this, I think, because it's quite heavy, to a separate band so I can wear the dress with or without this collar. I haven't decided yet because of course it might obscure the lines here, but it is a very dramatic and rather wonderful thing. And I've got this gorgeous trimming that I could use just to decorate around the front like that. I can arrange those like that at the front, and the buttons that I might or might not use. You can see why I'm longing to use them. Aren't they perfect? Here you can see just the top of the skirt and those sweeping lines that go right down to the hem. So the skirt has this front panel and that creates those curved lines that you can then emphasize with trimmings. So for the belt around the waist, obviously, I have this gorgeous Edwardian jet. You can see why I wanted to use those jet buttons, can't you? Yes. And that is my waist measurement. So that will go around the waist. Then from the bodice, I'll have some of this gorgeous trimming left to emphasize that sweep down there, and then I'll run out. So that might look a bit odd, except I've got this, which is, as you can see, a beautiful length of, again, Edwardian trimming. It has already been around a skirt, so it is a certain length. So I am dictated to about where I can put that. Yes, I chose the button closure. I can do up the lower part at the front, twizzle it round, and then do up the upper back. I'm putting on my Edwardian tango boots, which I think go perfectly with my dress. I hope that you think I've achieved the Edwardian look I was going for. As you know, I wanted to take good care of the Edwardian jet bead and lace trimmings, so they're all stitched on by hand, and it took many hours, as did the hemming, because it's a really full skirt, which would be fine because I like hand sewing. But the Edwardian event was last night, so I was hunched over my hand sewing into the night on a few nights, and pretty well right up to leaving for the event. And here comes a tragic tale. Starting to rain as I headed out in my tango boots. I reached Victoria Station and I made sure to stand well away from all the grubbiness, of course, on the London Underground. And I bought my train ticket to my destination, and then I looked at the departure board. You know what's coming, don't you? No trains. Anyway, then I saw these two ladies in National Rail uniform, so I asked them where my train was, and they said, "Oh, there's no trains in that direction today. You should have checked before you left home." Honestly, Only National Rail can make it sound like it's your fault when your train is cancelled. So I said, but I've just been sold a ticket for today to go there. I mean, it's not unreasonable, is it, to think that if you buy a ticket for a train journey, that the train exists. They said, no, not at the weekend. Weekend service is rubbish. I couldn't help, I have to say, my eyes straying to their uniform. Yes, National Rail employees. They were like, oh yeah, the service, it's total rubbish. Anyway, I explained to them I was off to this Edwardian event, and they said, oh, you look Edwardian, which was nice of them. And they worked out that if I changed trains twice with a 20-minute walk in between, or I could change trains 3 times without the walk, and they thought the walk option was best. I mentioned the tango boots to them. They sort of gazed at the boots and then looked at me pityingly and said I should have brought walking shoes with me. I mean, are National Rail really recommending that we all bring hiking boots next time we embark on a rail trip? The final blow was when they recommended that I give up on Victoria Rail Station, go back into the underground and travel by tube to another London terminus before I started the route. I went home. I mean, I was worried too that if I got there eventually, how I'd ever get home again. By the time I walked back from the underground station, it was like torrential rain. So my dress and my tango boots had been drying off since, and the blows weren't over. This is not really a traditional reveal, is it? The blows weren't over, because I looked online at pictures of the event, and everyone looked amazing, but the killer blow was when I saw on Bernadette Banner's Instagram page that she'd been there. I mean, what can I say? I'm sure you can imagine how I felt. I don't know how anyone else got there. I suppose they drove or coming from a different direction. Anyway, at least I have this channel on which to show my dress, and truthfully, it is rather simple compared to most of the other dresses at the event. I'll aim for a positive note now. The pattern itself is wonderful. I thoroughly recommend this dress pattern. You can make a dress as simple or as complex as you want. The pieces fit together perfectly. The pattern instructions are clear and to the point. If you imagine the dress without the trimmings, it's this perfect example of a simple Edwardian or cottage core dress. Got a full swishy skirt, like flattering blouse shape and puff sleeves. You could choose to add lace trimming or insertion lace where you want, or you can follow the instructions to make an exquisite lingerie dress. For myself, I can imagine sewing this dress to make a simple floral summer dress, and it would look lovely worn with like a floppy straw hat or bow tie. Thank you very much for watching, especially if you made it through my tale of woe. And please remember to like my videos, that really helps. Might boost morale too. I'll see you next time. Bye.